Yeah. Everybody's good. Everybody's good. I just want to make sure. Now I want to talk to you about the future of flag football right now, because I think you're in a good space, in a good spot with your history, with your experience, and then also being in the position that you are in now. I think you are a pretty good judge and authority, knowing like where you think this can be going. Flag
Right.
football is like a real big thing. Now I remember saying now I'm even when I grew up in the Park District. When I grew up in the Park District, we had flag football. We had a season, inner
Mhm.
city, just like we had now. I was able to play in it as a shorty. I was able to coach it with my girls as well. And then I know they still have it now, but at the time, even then, as a shorty, I didn't even know flag football was as big as it, or should I say, I didn't know flag football would get as big as it is now. So now you see flag football, right? You see the entire world getting involved with flag football.
Mhm.
Um, it's trickling down to the high schools, grammar schools.
Mhm.
It's a collegiate sport now. They're talking about the Olympics. We already know we got national and international tournaments. Where do you think flag football is ultimately going to end? Because I really feel like at this point, like we really looking at potentially an Olympic sport.
I I'm gonna be honest and say I honestly think one day we're gonna see a professional flag football league.
I I believe that.
I don't think it will be on the level of the NFL because I mean NFL in a different atmosphere, but I feel that it could be something, and and I don't mean to call it a gimmick like this, but this is what I could compare it to. Something similar to like the Big Three,
Okay.
where it travels, is city to city, but it's not like an ongoing season.
The Big
And
Three is professional.
right, and you know me, I always got my hands in stuff, so I would gladly put my hands in that if anybody's out there listening. But I do think that's something that it will turn into because once it gets to be an Olympic sport, I mean, it's so many variations of it. It's just I'm interested in learning which variation of flag football is going to turn into that major one that say this is the style because you got five, sevens, eights, co-ed, men, women, this, that, and the other. When you got all that mixed in, I feel like one thing is gonna come out of it, one style. I honestly think it's gonna be fives.
I think it's
When
gonna be fives too,
and when it comes out of it, that's what's gonna take off because fives is so easy to copy and
and it's
duplicate,
fast.
and it's
And it's
fast and it's exciting.
I wouldn't be surprised, even though this is still fives. This is still fives, but um, at the gauntlet format that was at
Hmm.
the other league,
Yeah,
that was popping, but that's fives too. It's fives ones,
yep.
but that's fives too. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like I definitely want to be surprised at fives because it's fast paced. It's exciting. It's a shorter field.
Hmm.
Like it's a
Which
shorter
means
field. So I want.
and in the
Oh,
logistics of things, people don't think about that, but logistically, that helps out because even me running a square, trying to find multiple 100-yard fields is a lot harder than finding one 60-yard field or one, however, yeah, 60-yard field by 20 yards wide. You get 100-yard field, you got three of them, and that
have you?
availability
Oh, sorry,
is
sorry.
going to help. No, go ahead, go ahead.
Have you thought about have you thought about what? No, let me not jump that gun. I want to stay on this topic of the future of flag football. So I know you kind of dabbled into this future of flag football because you had a national team for Chicago at one point, right? Chicago Chaos that was a national team,
Correct.
correct?
Yeah, that was we were
Um,
part of a league, a national league. That yeah,
the
we
part
were
of a
part of a
national
national.
league. Now, is
Yeah,
that league still going on, or is
I
that
think
something
it's.
that kind of like stalled out?
I think they had one season, but I don't think they're coming back for a second. We didn't
Why do
play.
you
We
think
didn't
that?
even play in that first season.
Is it that
Financial.
it's probably too hard to put together like a national league?
No, I don't think that. I think you need the backing. Like again, I go back to my CBL start days. The first thing that I have in that notebook that I wrote down, and people won't believe it, but in that notebook I had sponsors. You can only make so much money by charging players. You have to get sponsorship money to come in and take over for the majority of that and cover those costs, which they get benefits out of that obviously as well. But that's where I feel is lacking as of right now. But I don't think that's going to be for long. I feel like a Nike or somebody big like that gonna come drop some money on it, and once they drop it, it's gonna be a wrap. That's gonna be the league that takes off.
So it sounds like sponsorship is like really just that not the blueprint, but that shot in the arm that the future of flag football really needs. Because it's like seeing like I've been to nationals probably like the last 4 or 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it just seems like no matter what league it is, it just gets bigger and bigger. Like you know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. Like the formats, like the competition level is always high. And you would assume that anyway because it's national, right? So the
Right.
competitional level is always high. You see the sponsors, you see the vendors, you see the different teams, you see the different regions, you see teams that come from the DMV area, the West Coast, the Midwest. You know what I mean? Like if you would have told me like when I first peep game and flag football, like just working the clock at Dunbar Park, that it was that big or that it was going to get that big, I would have been like, yeah, what the fuck ever. But now when you look at everything with NFL, right? You got people
Mm-hmm.
who you got athletes who are great athletes, but you know they just can't make it in the NFL, but they still want to be around the game. So what's the next path for them if they want to be around the game? It's flag football. You got
Yep.
women who can't play, like who are amazing athletes, but they're not playing in the WNBA. They're not doing track. They're not doing any other sports, but they want to be around some. They want to be athletically active. What's the next thing? It's flag, right? And then you have parents who got kids who they probably don't even want their kids
Playing
playing
football.
football because of the concussions and all this thing. But this kid really want to play flag football, or they want to think of an alternative for their kid to play. What's that? It's flag. You know what I mean? And I think when you
Mm-hmm.
look at flag being an alternative to the NFL or being to contact football, I think it's a bad mood rising, for lack of a better word. I mean by bad mood rising. I mean like it ain't gonna do shit but get bigger.
No,
You know
right,
what I mean?
exactly.
And I can just imagine what the end game of flag football can end up being.
I see a whole lot. Like I literally see it getting to the point where it's a paid league. Like no bullshit. I I mean it's damn near a paid league now. If you really think about it, teams go uh, teams go to tournaments. They pay a small fee. If they win, they get a cash prize. AFFL, they kind of did it and they kind of dibbled and dabbled in it. They still ain't paid their people yet, but that's a whole nother story. But but again, they were giving out 200,000. What happened? Why they can't pay the people? Funding. You need that funding, and I think
That's
that's
a lot
where
of money.
I think that's where the future of flag lands at. Is who's going to be that first company that drops the money to fund the league? Whoever it does is going to be the league that takes off.
I
Because it
feel
only
like
going
it'll
to take them
probably
on.
be.
Once it takes off, it's over. It's not
I
going to
feel
be
like
any holding it back.
if I'm not mistaken, I think outside of the NFL, obviously, I think Under Armour is like the biggest sponsor for like flag football.
But see, yeah, they do like kids flag football, and nothing wrong with kids flag football, but that's not going to be what gets paid because you those
Right,
are for athletes. They can't be paid because they want to go to college and play other sports. Like let's
right,
say
right, right.
somebody want to go play basketball. Now you didn't got paid to play flag football. You can't go play college football or
Mm-hmm,
college basketball or whatever other
mm-hmm.
sport you want to play. So I don't think it's going to be there. I think it's going to be something that's kind of like an after college thing that the upper tier athletes and some of the recreational athletes do as well. And it's kind of like the average Joes versus the pros. I, I,
Yeah, I
I
like
got a vision for it. I got a vision for it. I can see it happening. I mean, like I said, the right person
mhm.
out there, we could talk. I got a vision
Would
for
you
it.
be the one who spearheaded?
I mean, like I said, the funding for that
Um,
would have to be there, but we could do that.
I look at that. Damn, that's gonna be a monster edit.